Good, man. How are you?
It is very much its own thing, though. Like, one of the first things I did when I was cast 2.5, almost 3 years ago now, which is crazy, was watched Flashpoint Paradox, just because like everyone talked about it. So I knew what the storyline was before I got our script. And it's pretty different. You know, obviously we can't have Superman or Batman or Wonder Woman running around in the first episode. I wish we could, but apparently we can't. So it's pretty different. They do a good job of like kind of throwing little nods to what Flashpoint Paradox and what the storylines were for Flashpoint in the comics, using characters that have existed on the show for the first 2 years, and the things that are changed now. I think we're done pretty well as far as like what has existed for the past 2 years and how they've changed in kind of a parallel way to what's in the comics. But it's very much its own thing, for sure.
Barry got a little angry in the previous season. Does that anger continue, or is it sort of over that?
It's been a roller coaster as far as him finding peace. Every time he thinks he's like kind of found some peace, everything gets flipped on its head again. So I don't know. I mean, when we see him in Flashpoint, it's like he did this for a reason, and you see him with it that we've aged Michelle, who plays Nora Allen, to like look 16 years older, and it's as if like, you know, they've been together for all these years, but Barry knows what the other timeline was. So you see him with this like absolute like appreciation for the fact that both of his parents are alive and he's living with them. Even though they're trying to like, they don't know that the timeline was different, and they're like trying to get him to move out because he's like 27 years old, like, and he just kind of wants to live with them because he hasn't had them for all these years. That's pretty funny.
So Barry has like 2 sets of memories now?
Yeah, and I did just say this at another table, so it's already out there, but I don't know if I was supposed to, but he's the only one that knows about the other timeline, but he does start to forget. He, like, only the timeline he's in kind of or the memories, all of his memories are changing. Like, he starts to get memories in Flashpoint of like with his parents that he never had. He's like got brand new memories but they're replacing things that he had with his, you know, West family memories.
How does this affect the other shows?
It does, I can tell you that much. I don't know how it's affecting Legends or Supergirl. I know one thing on Arrow that's being affected directly. I don't know if I'm allowed to say, but it is affecting the other shows.
So will we see any of the characters from Arrow and Flashpoint?
Yeah. I can't remember if in the first episode if we do, but I mean, the crossovers there's going to be way more this season than there have been in the last 2, for sure. I've signed on to 4. I'm doing like at least 4 episodes of other shows.
Wow.
Yeah.
Does that make it more fun that you get to play in all these other...
It is fun, and I think this year, since we like have a little bit of like foresight, we're planning it a little bit better, and we're taking like when Supergirl crossover is happening, I think Flash gets like 2 days off that week or something, because you know you're shooting 2 episodes of television at one time, and we shoot 23 episodes of Flash in 9.5 months, but now technically my season is 27 episodes in 9.5 months, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
You're going to need that super speed.
Yeah.
How will Flashpoint change up the villain structure for the season?
I don't really know yet moving forward, but pretty heavily like in the first 2 episodes. I mean, you saw like Barry goes back, stops Reverse Flash, saves his mom, so obviously like Barry's got Reverse Flash now. So that kind of changes things. Like he's got the upper hand on him now, and he's got that son of a bitch locked up somewhere.
Does he have any guilt whatsoever for changing the timeline, or is he just happy as can be?
You know, I think he's trying to not think about it when we first see him, because it's not even probably, he doesn't have to try that hard, honestly, because he's got both of his parents, and it was a selfish decision. But he's a little bit blind to that right now, because he's got his family. But he, like I said, will start to realize he's forgetting things, which will start to weigh heavily on him. And he will get some life lessons from another speedster. He's gonna kind of give him some maybe don't do this shit kind of advice.